Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Zach Kitschke, the Chief Marketing Officer here at Canva, and I'm really excited about this session that we have now. The title of this panel is CMOs Unplugged, Tune into the Future of Marketing, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have with me Lisa McKnight, EVP, Chief Brand Officer of Mattel, Leah Bivo, VP Product Marketing and Strategic Communications at AWS, and Jasmine Taylor, Head of Customer Marketing at Instacart. Please make them feel welcome.
Thank you. We're in the wrong order.
Yeah, should we switch?
It's fine. Switch. You want us to switch? All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay.
So I guess for today's panel, I thought we would touch on a few key themes that sort of come up in the conversations and I know are very, very top of mind for marketers everywhere. The first is really about maintaining brand authenticity while navigating the new era that we're facing with AI. We want to talk a little bit about delivering measurable business impacts while maintaining brand authenticity and this concept of scale. And so I guess to ground us, there's a few themes and sort of trends that we're really seeing at the moment. I think I speak for all of us when I say marketing leaders are under a lot of pressure at the moment, not just to deliver creativity, but also ROI. In fact, 83% of CMOs cite that as one of their top challenges, according to Deloitte. Number two, content demands continue to grow while budgets tighten. 62% of marketing teams are reporting flat or reduced budgets despite increasing content demands this year. And then last but not least, of course, this new era of AI offers so many opportunities but also challenges as we all figure out how to navigate it. And so hopefully today you'll come away with some strategies for navigating these things and learn from these leaders that we have with us here today. I've got a couple questions to kind of kick us off, but I would love to make sure we get to as many questions from the audience as well. So make sure you keep any questions in mind and we'll sort of leave some time at the end for that as well. But first, I want to jump into things with a question around balancing transformation and change with honouring your brand's authenticity. And I think there's probably no better place to start than with Lisa from Mattel. Can you talk us through how you think about this kind of challenge? You folks have really led the way in a lot of ways there.
Thank you. Well, great to be here. Hi, everyone. Gorgeous Southern California day. This is fabulous. So I'm the Chief Brand Officer at Mattel, and Mattel is celebrating our 80th anniversary this year. So very proud of the legacy brands in the portfolio, brands like Hot Wheels, Barbie, Uno, Fisher-Price, Thomas the Train, American Girl, and I could go on. And so naturally, you know, there are peaks and valleys in that 8-decade history, and there have been many chapters in the history of the company. And I think what has helped us manage through these difficult or changing or volatile times in more recent years is about 10 years ago, from a brand management standpoint, we created what we call the Mattel Playbook. And it's got 4 strategic pillars to it, and this is how we think about managing these brands. The first is purpose. All of our brands have a distinct purpose, a reason for being. We know how important it is, especially today, for consumers to buy into brands that share their values, that have purpose and that matter. We also spend a lot of time, and our second and third pillars are all about consumer-centric innovation. You know, you've got to go where the consumer is going. You have to stay connected to consumers' desires, needs, and then frankly exceed their expectations with, you know, incredible product and marketing engagement. And that also ties to our third pillar, which is about cultural relevance and staying connected to culture. No one cares about a dusty, you know, 65-year-old brand, you know, which is actually Barbie's age. She's now 66, unless she's relevant to today. And so we're always thinking of new ways to reimagine our brands. And then finally, this is a little bit more new, but we think about franchise mindset. We think about our consumers as fans. And we think about all the ways that they can interact with our products and brands, and it might be with a physical toy, it might be through a digital game, it might be through a live experience, or it might be through a big movie tentpole. So that's how we've been managing the portfolio over recent years.
And you guys continue to innovate. I know we were just chatting about the LeBron partnership earlier.
Yes,
I wanted to ask,
very proud of that.
off the back of that, how do you kind of balance leading with an intuition around what consumers want versus responding to insights that you might gather?
Well, it's challenging. I mean, I always say it takes a village. So we certainly listen to consumers every day. We are very proud of our social listening. But then we also have to make calls, and we have to make sure that we're taking risks and pushing boundaries and maybe, again, exceeding their expectations, doing things that they didn't know that they needed or wanted or was asking for. So it's a combination.
Awesome. And I guess speaking about product innovations, Jasmine, I might come to you. I know you folks continue to come out with new developments, but I thought maybe you could touch on your AI shopping cart and
Sure.
how you think about product innovation in that regard.
Yeah, so totally. And Instacart, we're a baby brand compared to Mattel. We're about 13 years old and still very much establishing ourselves as a leader in that grocery space. One of the things you're mentioning is our Caper Cart. And it is a smart cart that lives in the grocery store. So many of you know Instacart to be a place where you get your groceries delivered. Some of you may know, because of our partnership with Bristol Farms here in Los Angeles, that we're also in the grocery store in the form of a smart cart. And this cart is amazing, so if you haven't tried it, check it out. But essentially, it knows who you are as a shopper. It's helping track your shopping as you go through. It's helping you stay on budget. It's helping you find deals throughout the store. And then it has the power to then inform your grocery ordering and delivery later. So it creates this real omni-channel experience for the consumer. And I would say, like, when it comes to really embracing transformation as a 13-year-old brand, we have no choice but to, right? And so we fully embrace it every day. We think about definitely having a core brand, core product strategy. And then we think about things like AI that can help 100x our impact.
Organizationally, what does it take to deliver on that?
Organizationally, for one, we have, in a marketing sense, we have a full in-house, fully staffed team. So we have a creative agency in-house. We think that's incredibly important to really keeping a really close connection to the brand and making sure that we build those connections with consumers, especially because we're still very much in brand building phase. And so organizationally, we have that in-house. Of course, all of our tech is in-house. And so we're a small but mighty
Connect
team.
those dots.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And Leah, I might come to you next. And I think no one better than Amazon to talk about balancing innovation, but also about the importance of trust and how do you kind of balance those two worlds as we're pushing into new frontiers?
Absolutely. Well, AWS was formed in Amazon about 20 years ago now, and really what our mission is to allow any developer in their garage or their dorm room to have access to the same technologies that the most well-funded companies in the world have. And that was kind of our mission and how we were founded. And really what we're all about is, what are all the capabilities that you need to be able to invent, to start a new company, to start a new product, or to transform a long existing company. And so when we think about innovation and we think about trust, it's really working with these companies and these builders to really understand what is it that you need from us so that you can build the next thing, or what is it that you need so that you can go global. And that's where trust comes in, because it needs to be available, it needs to be secure, and you kind of need to know when you make that bet that we're going to continue to look ahead and work with you to make sure that when new technologies come out, like AI, that we're going to do everything that we can to create a service or ways that you can use AI in your business. And so really the innovation was a core part of our DNA, and it's very much about listening to all of our customers, working with them, and understanding what their needs are.
Thank you. I want to change gears a little bit now. I think we've got three very well-known, respected brands. I know a lot of marketers that we talk to are definitely under a lot of pressure to connect their investments to outcomes. And I wanted to get a little sense for how each of you think about your portfolio of investments, particularly balancing the sort of long-term equity building with some of the shorter-term results as well. Lisa, maybe we can start with you there.
Well, I mean, there's always moments where, you know, we look at our weekly sales. We're a wholesaler, so we rely on the retailer sales reports, and we look at that. And, you know, there are certainly moments where you feel like, ooh, we need a little goose here. We got to, like, get this going a bit. But that is such a short-term mindset. And we are big believers in, as I mentioned, the playbook and ensuring that the foundation of our brands is strong and that the brands are being nurtured and are staying in step with the times. So that upper funnel is where we spend a lot of energy. And, you know, sometimes, again, you've got to have patience. These things take a while. Barbie was underperforming about 10 years ago. We were getting feedback that parents didn't feel good about giving Barbie as a gift for, you know, one of their friends' birthday parties. The brand was losing relevance. So we couldn't just rely on promotional markdowns and, you know, different ways to ignite sales through reductions in price. We had to focus on rebuilding relevance around the brand. And that meant that we had to look at the entire product line. We needed the doll to broaden the assortment. We needed to create different views of beauty, create different body types, different expressions of beauty. We needed to make her a more relevant role model, and we needed to do better storytelling. So we had to do all of that, which took many years before we could get to the sales increases that we started.
Can you touch on some of the results? Because it's really an incredible story. Maybe just paint a little picture of what it's looked like for you folks.
Yeah, I mean, so again, the business doubled in about 6 years, and this was before the Barbie movie. And frankly, I would say that we wouldn't have attracted the talent of a Greta Gerwig, a Margot Robbie, if the brand foundation hadn't been strengthened, if the brand wasn't a better reflection of the world that kids and all of us are seeing around us. And so because of the rebuild and the patience, not only did we double the business, but then we attracted Greta and Margot. And in partnership with their amazing creative genius, we created one of the best performing films in box office history, and the best performing film for Warner Brothers in their history. So incredible.
Yeah. Round of applause.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Jasmine, I might come to you here as a younger brand, but I'm sure, you know, your business is very, very sensitive. You're getting immediate feedback as well. How do you kind of think about investment over short versus long term?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yes, there's always, it's like the tale as old as time, right? There's the brand, and then there's performance marketing, and we're always talking about them being separate. But at Instacart, we've decided that they are not at all separate. And so we have like coined internally this phrase called brandformance. And what that means to us is that every single touch point with the customer is an opportunity to build our brand, is an opportunity to create those memory structures that then will drive results. And so we think about like everything from television and out of home, and everything from like those teeny tiny banners in our app with that same level of discipline and rigor, always putting the consumer at the center. And so like an example, a recent example is Instacart went to the Super Bowl for the very first time as a brand.
Fantastic.
It's like a brand marketer's dream come true to bring a brand to Super Bowl. And the way we thought about that was we thought about what's our right to win at Super Bowl. Like, it's not enough to show up and entertain and flash in the pan, but like, what is truly our purpose for being there? And where we landed is, you know, we are there for that head of household every day. And that head of household is probably hosting the Super Bowl, right? And so how might we make sure that we're top of mind for stocking up for the big game, getting those game day snacks, but also really touching the consumer's heart and mind and not just trying to tap their wallet. And so as we thought about like the seeding aspects of those campaigns, we started to really message, hey, get ready for the big game. But we actually used the talent that we had in our Super Bowl campaign to help seed that message. And so we did not think about these things as, okay, one team who has to drive the sales and another team who needs to build the brand. Like, we only do this well if we do it together. So that's kind of how we approach it.
And what were the results?
Oh, really good. Well, I can't get too specific for obvious reasons, but so good that we're feeling really good about
You're back
returning
again.
next year. Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So we've talked a bit about AI and navigating transformation. We've talked about sort of short and long term. The last theme I wanted to touch on before we open it to questions was really this sort of notion of global and local and craft and scale. And so I might come to you here, Leah. AWS, truly global.
We are.
How do you think about managing brand consistency at a global level while also enabling for that local sort of impact and authenticity?
Well, I would say that it is a learning process, and we're always kind of getting better. But we have locations all around the world, and we have fully built out marketing teams all around the world. And those teams are incredibly close to customers. They understand the users and the problems and the different stages along the journey of technology transformation or cloud usage for those customers. And so we really do try to balance what are the things that are fixed, that no matter where you are and what marketing or sales team you're engaging with, you know that it's AWS, and there's those core characteristics that make the experience similar. So for an example, we do a series of customer events all around the world. I think we do 30 of them. And we have a core set of assets and a core set of experiences that are not optional, right? That the event is going to look and feel a certain way. But also we need to recognize that these incredibly talented marketing teams who know their customers in the UK better than I do at corporate, or they know their customers in Japan better than we do at corporate, they need some flexibility within that construct to innovate on behalf of their customers and create experiences that are really local and relevant and meet the customer where they are. And so we do have elements where we've got kind of the fixed brand elements. The experience is going to look like this. And then we have some things that are flexible. So you can choose certain content tracks or certain experiences to have at the event, depending on where it makes sense for your customer set. And then there's free, which is basically go for it, innovate on behalf of your customers. So having a developer event or create a lounge where people can have a hackathon, or get a certain set of customers that are all in the same industry together to work on something. And what we find is that a lot of innovation and a lot of really great marketing ideas and ways of building community and connecting with customers, they come from those marketing teams at the edge. And often what we learn from them, we try to then scale out as much as we can globally.
I love that. So you almost can see what's working in different places and
Exactly.
cross-pollinate. All right, we have 10 minutes left, and I know there will be quite a few questions in the audience. So if you have a question, you want to throw up your hand and we'll bring you a mic. I might go to the woman in the front with a hand up first.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I'm from the City College of New York in New York. For a minute, I was like, where are we at again? So I see that the stage is filled with all women, except for our CMO at Canva. So I wanted to, so that's my question. Can you talk a little bit more to being a woman in these like CMO and creative fields, and how you navigate that space?
Anyone want to take that one to start?
Okay, I can start. Great question. Well, I would say, first of all, whatever your identity is, show up as your authentic self, and be true to who you are. And that goes a long way. It goes a long way in the energy and the passion and the commitment you put into the work. If the work you're doing is personally connecting to you, you're so much more productive, and you're so much more able to influence partners or even the C-suite with investments if you truly believe in what you're doing. So I think that's important. I think the other thing is, different circumstances present themselves. Sometimes you might be in a room with all men, other times it might be a room with all women, but again, use your voice in whatever the situation is. Don't change who you are just because of the environment that you're in.
I might come down to the front.
afternoon. My name is Renata, and it's just an honor to be here and hear you all speak. I developed a new product. It's a wig with a built-in swim cap where you can go swimming and keep your natural hair dry. It's so new and so unique that I find it very difficult to market. What will be some advice that you can give to me so that I can share this new revolutionary product to the world?
Well, I can start.
And
I was about to say, do exactly what you're doing right now.
my mom, she's so
Give us
awesome.
a
She's here
demo.
with me. I traveled from Indiana. I
Oh,
made
nice.
this box using Canva.
Wow.
Oh my God, I love that.
Using Canva, literally everything designed with Canva. And the cap this is my product that I made for children so they can become a mermaid. A mermaid, little mermaid. It's double layers of protection. So yes, how would I share this with the world? Because having that credibility, you all have it. You have a team, you have funding. But me, I'm new and I need help.
Jasmine, what are your marketing tips?
Yeah, I mean, you should do more of what you're doing right now, right? You are getting your brand out there to a good group of people right here. But I'd also say, like, don't think of it as, I don't have a team, I don't have this big budget, I can't make this thing grow. Like, it is really the passion that you have now that's gonna fuel you forward. And you talk to any and everybody about your swim caps any chance you get. And I would say, actually, when it comes to brand marketing, drones. You know, the smaller the budget, the tighter of the spot that you're in, the more innovation can come from that place. Like the more creative you're gonna become. And so don't allow those things to limit you in some way. And just make sure you're continuing to connect as much as you can.
I come to the
We're
gentleman
here.
in the second row. Gentleman just here. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I have a question for any of you. I've recently been tasked to kind of reinvigorate a 20-year-old brand, and there's kind of really nothing there to start with. And so I've just been looking for kind of a couple pieces of advice to see, you know, maybe where would you start at when trying to start a brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and I can speak from this, we've been building Instacart's brand for about 4 years. And the very first place I started on day one was talking to customers. There is nothing more important than that, right? And so even if the brand hasn't been invested in many years and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, talk to the people who are using it today. Talk to the people who were using it and they stopped. Really understand what those barriers are. And therefore, you can decide what those opportunities are. But like, it has to start with who your customer is, first and foremost.
Come to the woman just there. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, yeah. I was just curious. What social media marketing trend have you guys noticed that's kind of like the top trend right now?
Well, I can share. I mean, I'm going to say something incredibly obvious, but we are seeing so much success from the TikTok channel and working with creators, but also watching creators take inspiration from our brands and create this incredible content that becomes explosive, and then reacting and doing a fast follow. Uno is a brand I haven't talked much about, but it is taken off in the past few years because of the social virility of it. It's a really inclusive game. Everyone's welcome, and it's for all ages. And last year, there was a video created on TikTok. It was the #1 most liked video on the entire platform.
Seriously?
Incredible. 32 million likes and hundreds of millions of views. And it was because the creator had fun with the gameplay. There's a version of Uno called Show 'em No Mercy. And it was this hysterical video with people throwing out reverse cards and takedowns, and it was very competitive. And it just struck a chord. And so we're now working with that person to do even more. And that particular new Uno game has become the #1 new game, ahead of Monopoly in just a short year. So incredible. So I am bowing down to TikTok.
We've got maybe one in the middle here.
Hi there. My question is for Lisa and Leah. I work in a company that has a house of brands rather than a branded house, and we have trouble with governance. So there's certain characteristics about our company that scale to all properties. How do y'all manage from a governance perspective, providing brand guidelines, those sort of things, kits, but just ensuring that the core message is told across each of those brands?
I can start because I am a sub-brand of a very large and amazing parent brand. And I would say that we have, at AWS, we have a kind of unique customer base when you compare it to the rest of Amazon. We have developers and businesses and government agencies. And we have been allowed to have a lot of leeway to create a brand that really speaks to those audiences. But again, if you think about the core attributes of Amazon, it's, we're still offering these folks a very wide variety of services. We want it to be really easy to use. We want them to be cost effective. And so we have that connection, but we've had a lot of leeway in the almost 20 years that we've been around to kind of forge our own path to really speak to our audience of developers and builders and businesses.
Yeah, and I would say we are so incredibly proud of our individual brands. And as I mentioned, we use the Mattel Playbook as a way to sort of think about those strategic pillars underneath those brands. But the through line across is that we're a children's family entertainment company, and we're all about quality and value and ensuring that our brands are, as I mentioned, connecting to culture in new and unexpected ways. And so there is that macro Mattel sort of through line across everything that we do.
All right, we have time for one more lucky last question. I might go to the gentleman right up at the back.
Hello, my name is Asa. I'm with Massachusetts Continuing Legal Education. This is a question for whoever wants to answer it. What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
I can go again. I would just say, take more risks. There were days when I was working on the Barbie movie and I was joking with my then boss, I'm either going to be updating my resume or I'm going to the Oscars because it was so unpredictable. But we knew we were in good hands with the best creative minds. We knew the brand was strong. And so we went for it and pushed ourselves, definitely got uncomfortable at times, but the world responded in an incredible way. So wish I had told myself that 5 or 6 years ago on some of those sleepless nights.
Any other final pieces of wisdom?
I mean, there's so much that I know now that I didn't know 5 years ago.
Always.
It's hard to put my finger on one thing. But I guess what I would say is that even when you think everything kind of feels stable and you've got things going, you're providing a lot of value, everything can change in a moment. And really having a focus on trying as hard as possible to get all of the signals of what's going on out there and what, really understand what your customers need is, really important. Generative AI came out of kind of seemingly nowhere for all of us. And we've been able to move really, really quickly and embrace it and also find ways to make products to help customers embrace it. But I don't, the transformation from on-premises to the cloud, right? Everybody uses the cloud now, but that wasn't the case, not so long ago, was fast. And I think it was faster than any of us had imagined. But what's happening right now with AI is even faster than that. And so I guess what I would say is just be always looking ahead and ready to turn and understanding what your customers need.
Jasmine?
Yeah, I mean, to build on that, I would say even be willing to chase the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
There's so much that's gonna happen no matter what. It's unpredictable. We were talking about the unpredictability of our business before we came on stage, and ultimately, that is the way of business.
Yeah.
And so if you want to have a brand that thrives, then you lean into it and you chase it. and never be afraid of it. So, yeah.
Jasmine, Leah, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all too. Hope you have a great rest of the day.